Hey guys, Farrell here. This is just going to be my thoughts on the newly released Fujifilm X-E5. And while I don't have the X-E5 to hand, I do have an X-E4. Now I've had this camera for a few months and I absolutely love it. However, there are quite a few substantial upgrades between this and the X-E5 and I just want to quickly touch on them. Now, before I get into it, I apologise for how I look. I've had a really long week, so I'm not feeling my best. On with the video. Now firstly, we've got to talk about ergonomics. So every camera before the X-E4 actually had a little bit of a gripped area on the camera, and it also had a focus selector switch. That's something that they lost with the Fujifilm X-E4. Now for me, I actually like the sleek look, but I didn't really enjoy the fact that I was losing the focus selector switch. So looking at the X-E5, they have reintroduced a selector switch, albeit a slightly different version. It is mounted on the side. Now what's more important is they have introduced a new grip element to the X-E5 and I actually love how this looks on that camera. It still keeps the nice sleek design. I do think it looks much better than the old grip that the X-E line used to have, and it doesn't interfere with the nice clean lines of the camera. Now while we're on that topic, we can talk about the general design of the camera as well. While not an awful lot has been changed, it has been cleaned up, it has been modernized, the slight slope that the X-E4 has been flattened out, we've got the improved grip on the X-E5, and the viewfinder area looks much cleaner on this camera. That was always a little bit of a bugbear for me. I don't know if you guys can see this, but on the X-E4, the viewfinder bump is actually raised off the camera and it ruins an otherwise perfectly straight line on the top of the camera. So I do think that the newer X-E5 does make that look a hell of a lot cleaner. Now, outside of improved ergonomics and a slightly more modernized look, what else has changed? Well, they've introduced a new dial, and interestingly, that dial is on the top of the camera. Now, this dial is very interesting to me specifically. So it is a film simulation dial, which I've been on record saying how much I dislike them. I think it cheapens the X-T50, I think it suits the XM5, but I think here, I didn't really want one unless they went a particular route. And they've gone that route. So what they've done is with the film simulation dial, we've got your normal stuff like classic chrome, Velvia, Provia, whatever. I'm not sure of all of the Fujifilm sims that are on that dial, but what I am sure of is they've got FS1, 2 and 3 on this dial, and it is a custom savable recipe. Now the Fujifilm film recipe community is absolutely massive and we love this stuff. A lot of people are obsessed with stuff like Reggie's Portrait or like I love Jonas Rask's version of Classic Negative, and I use them on a daily basis. I've got some Kodak film stocks emulated on here and it's really nice that now I can actually have them instantly accessible on a dial. This for me is an absolute game-changing win. This changes that film simulation dial from something absolutely crap that I would never use to something that would actually become an essential part of my kit for when I'm documenting family on trips, which is for me the main use case for film simulations. And again, I love the Fujifilm film simulations, but I get a lot more use out of film simulation recipes. So to have that on a dial, to have that finally acknowledged by Fujifilm themselves, that's a big win for us guys. Now next, what we've got to talk about is not an exciting one for me. It is the sensor. So we're going from the 26 megapixel sensor to the 40 megapixel sensor. Yes, it's going to have more detail. It's also going to be faster focusing, but I have no issues with this. And I actually love the 26 megapixel size. It makes files nice and easy to edit. It means I don't have to upgrade my storage anytime soon. And again, for the kind of stuff that I use this camera for, it's more than good enough. So I don't necessarily think this is an upgrade that benefits me personally, but if you were wondering, yes, we are now getting the updated 40 megapixel sensor on the Fujifilm X-E5. Again, that brings with it improved autofocus. It does bring with it the AI subject tracking detection features, and it also brings with it some improved video specifications. Now this is interesting to me. So I really like this as a talking head camera because it just simply makes the easiest vlogging setup possible for how I like to use a camera. However, this is limited to 8-bit 4K 30p film. Again, this is not a concern for me because all of my videos for YouTube are shot in 8-bit and I'm really happy with the colours that I get out of them. However, the X-E5 is up in that a little bit. So we are getting 4K 60. We're also getting 6.2K in 30 frames a second. And I believe we're also getting 10-bit color. Now I will put that on the screen if I'm right there, but that is quite a considerable boost in video spec. And that would make the X-E5 quite a viable video camera. Again, the X-E4 does a fantastic job in that department for what I need and for what I'm concerned about, but that is quite a boost in specs, so not bad. The next one, this is a big deal, and I am not much of a stickler for IBIS, but the IBIS in the X-E5 is 7 stops with specific lenses. Now I say that because I bought this camera not being bothered that it doesn't have IBIS. But for reference, my X-T4 I believe has 5.5 stops. So with the 35mm f1.4, my favourite lens, you're actually getting 7 stops. That is crazy. That is a huge improvement. And while I don't feel it's necessary, it's a very cool to have, but what we've got to talk about, how does that affect the battery life? Now, the sensor does make the camera a lot more efficient, and that's good. That is a good thing. But the battery life is still the same as what's in this, the WP126S, which is an old battery and does not have a great reserve capacity. And now we're throwing IBIS on there. I'm a little bit worried about that. Now for reference, I did used to have an XS10, which has IBIS and has old battery. I never had a problem with it, but I'm very frugal with my use. But again, that's going to be an issue for some people. But to have IBIS in that camera, that makes it quite a tempting little package. And my concern here is this is now very much touching up to the specs that I would have wanted in a Fujifilm X Pro 4. Sure, we don't have weather sealing, we don't have an optical viewfinder, we have an electronic viewfinder, and we don't have a dual card slot. But if I was to carry one camera for all of my personal work, the X-E5 is ticking a hell of a lot of boxes right now. So it's an interesting discussion, and it released with a 23mm f2.8, slow, I know, weather sealed pancake lens. Fuji are bringing back pancake lenses. Are you fucking kidding me? I've been waiting years for this news. Like, they re-released the 27mm not too long ago, but we haven't had a new pancake lens, an actually new pancake lens, in forever. So this is such a win. This is one of the main reasons I got into the Fujifilm system, to have a small, compact camera. And now we're going back to that. We're going back to old school Fuji. We've got fun cameras with dope-ass dials, with dials that make more sense now, and we're bringing back some compact lenses. Now the 23mm f2.8 is a lens I would absolutely love because that's a focal range I really enjoy. And while I love this 18mm, sometimes it's a little bit too wide for me and I would prefer a 23mm. However, that lens sits in between too many lenses that I already have, so I don't really need it at the moment, but it is an exciting release nonetheless. So another couple of features that the X-E5 has that the Fujifilm X-E4 doesn't is not only do we have our front dial that we use, we also have gained a rear dial. Now, that is something that I have sorely missed going to this camera. Again, I'm really enjoying using this camera, but I really missed having a rear dial. Another control change is underneath. We do now have a little hidden Bluetooth button. Can't imagine using it very often, but it's a cool thing to have directly on a button. Now, what is really cool is what they've done with the viewfinder. Now, they've not upgraded the resolution, which makes me a little bit sad that it's not 3 point whatever million dots, it's still a 2 point whatever million dots. But they've introduced classic display mode, and I love how this looks. We've got a needle style dial for the exposure metering, and we've just got a lower interface with almost like falsified red LEDs like old school film cameras. Sure, this isn't for everyone, and it's a very lo-fi, almost hipster aesthetic, but do you know what? I absolutely love it. We've also got the surround view mode that was introduced on the GFX 100 RF, which again, I absolutely love. It would have been nice to get some more aspect ratios in camera, but we've got the majority of the main ones in there. And again, I did a video on this surround view mode, and I do really like the idea of this, and I could see myself using it a lot. And one last note that I completely forgot about is we do have the new selector switch from the 100 RF. From the GFX 100 RF as well. So this is the one that allows it to be pressed sideways either way shortly to access some different features, or long hold either way for additional features. So again, while we don't have a D-pad on the back like the X-E4, we do have quite a lot more buttons gained there, which is really useful. Also in the redesign, while most of the buttons look better and while the on-off switch looks a hell of a lot nicer, what I've got to say, this is a big one for me, so we've got proper strap plugs. Genuinely, they changed it. They've gone back to normal ash strap plugs. This is not a big deal to most people, but fucking hell is this a big deal to me. These stupid things, whoever designed these stupid strap ones, I want to kick you right in the dick. So I'm really glad to see that they are finally gone and we are back to normal ass strap plugs. So it looks better. It mostly performs better. I say mostly because again, I don't need the 40 megapixel, but certainly in the video, that would be cool. It's got a film simulation dial that I actually don't hate. It's got image stabilization up to 7 stops with my favorite lens, and obviously still image stabilization with all other lenses. It's probably got slightly reduced battery life, although don't quote me on that. It's got access to additional buttons that we didn't have before. It looks better. It's got a slightly improved grip, and it's come out with the 23mm f2.8 pancake lens. I really like this camera. I really like this camera, and it's really difficult because there is a huge,
sometimes they say huge
elephant in the room. That's the price. Because man, the X-E line was the budget line. And this thing's expensive, like really freaking expensive. For reference, I could buy 2 used X-T4s for the price of one X-E5. That makes this a rough deal. But if I wanted a brand new, with warranty Fujifilm camera, and I wasn't a working professional, this would be the one I would go for, 100%. Absolutely 100%. And because of that, I am genuinely thinking, if you can hear sheep, I do apologize. They really want to be in this video. But because of that, I really am thinking that I might be trading this in, because there are some really nice trade-in offers right now to get the X-E5 and get quite a lot of money in comparison for the X-E4. So I'm on the fence right now, because I could see this being my daily carry going forward. And again, a lot of those upgrades I absolutely don't need. And the matter of fact is I don't need a new camera. All my cameras are great and I love them, but there's a lot that makes this a vastly better camera. And that's really interesting. I didn't think I would. If I'm being honest, I wasn't expecting a release from Fujifilm that actually got me excited again. As a 90% photography first kind of guy, I haven't seen anything from Fuji that's maybe go, oh wow, this is the coolest thing ever. Like the GFX 100 RF was an amazing achievement, but it's just not the camera for me. And the X-Half, I get the concept. I think it's a cool, fun camera if you want to cancel out ever paying for film photography. But it's not the camera for me. The X-T50, you fucked that up. And the X-M5, again, it's a cool vlogging camera. It's a genuinely potent little video camera, but it's just not the camera for me. So I was waiting, honestly, for the X Pro 4, and it may never come. Or it might now be even better because we've had a hint at what it may have inside it. And like I say, if this X-E5 is anything to go by, The X Pro 4, whenever it comes, if it ever comes, is going to be a freaking monster. And you bet you, if they do it right, I'll be there. But for now, the X-E5 is the one to watch for me. So again, I do professional photography. I usually shoot with an X-T4 and then my X-E4 as my backup camera. For my personal stuff, I use a Leica Q or occasionally this little brute. But that X-E5, that brings a lot of things into consideration. If you enjoyed this content, please let me know down in the comments, throw me a like, throw me a subscribe. It all goes towards helping me actually have the effort to make these videos. So I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Peace.